What starts with a beginner sampler class and turns into a lifetime of stitching? My guest today started quilting as a newlywed looking for something to do. And decades later, she's teaching quilters precision piecing at shows across the nation. From seaside inspiration to award-winning quilts and even a spot on the quiltshow.com, today I'll have a chat with Tina Craig. Hello and welcome to the Quilter on Fire podcast. I'm Brandy Maslowski, a former firefighter turned quilt professional. As a quilt teacher, speaker, and judge, I travel the globe to bring quilters more joy and less overwhelm. Not too long ago, the quilty life I now lead was just a dream. After many lessons and a lot of hard work, I've transitioned from juggling a day job and a quilting business on the side to becoming a full-time quiltpreneur. I started the Quilter on Fire podcast to create a vibrant community of quilters, artists, and makers. Each episode brings you inspiring stories, insights, and the pure joy of guests from all over the world. If their stories uplift you and spark joy, you're in the right place. Let's dive in and ignite that creative fire within you. My guest today is Tina Craig of Seaside Stitches. She's been stitching since 1990 when a beginner sampler class turned into a lifelong passion. After moving to a seaside town in Rhode Island, she launched Seaside Stitches. Tina is known for teaching quilters how to master precision piecing, especially foundation paper piecing and English paper piecing, along with domestic machine quilting. Her work has won awards at regional shows, been exhibited internationally, and she's even taught at major events like the International Quilt Festival in Houston. And we'll also chat today about her recent appearance on the quiltshow.com. So settle in. This is a good one. Let's have a chat with Tina Craig. Tina, welcome to the show.
Hi, Brandy. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so glad to have you here. I have had so much fun over the last couple of years bumping into you everywhere, but I never feel like we have the time to have a really great conversation. So here we are.
Yeah, that's right. We've seen each other in Houston a couple times and at a couple of quilt cons, and it is usually in passing.
I know. And it's so funny because we bumped into each other in the airport when I was finishing up at the quiltshow.com and you were just about to go there.
That's right.
I couldn't believe bumping into you. I was like, what are you doing? And you were like,
and we forgot to take a picture.
I know, we didn't even get a selfie. Well, here we are today. We'll get a selfie and we'll post it on social media today. So you know how the podcast starts. I like to take a look back at where you got started. So when do you first remember putting stitched fabric?
The first thing I remember actually finishing was a blue calico wrap skirt when I was 13.
Oh.
I was going to a friend's birthday party, and it was a pool party, and I wanted something cute to wear over my bathing suit. So my mother and I went off to the fabric store and bought some calico, and she got me started. And then she had to go to work. So I had to finish the skirt on my own the morning of the party because, wait till the last minute. But it got done and I got to wear it and it was adorable. And so that's the first thing I actually finished.
Oh, you must have been the hit of the party. Did your girlfriends be like, oh my gosh, look what you made? Or did they even know you made it?
I don't even remember that part. I was just so happy I finished it.
Yeah, well, it sounds like your mom was a big influence on you. So that's my next question. Were there certain people in your life that had a creative impact on you early on?
Yeah, definitely my mom. She sewed a lot of garments for us growing up. And my grandmother, her mother, my grandparents lived in the flat below us. So we had a two-family house. My grandparents were downstairs and we were upstairs. And their sewing machines were directly above each other. My mother's machine was directly above my grandmother's machine in the dining room. So I got to watch my grandmother sew. She had been a professional seamstress in Italy before they immigrated to the United States. And my mother also was born in Italy. And my grandmother sent her to the convent to learn how to embroider from the nuns.
Wow.
She was she did a ton of handwork and really beautiful cut work embroidery. I don't know why she wouldn't teach her own daughter how to do it, but she sent her to the convent to learn.
Must have been so great growing up as a child, being able to be under this machine or that machine, depending who was
Yeah,
sewing at the
yeah,
time.
exactly. And my mother's stash was in the attic, and my grandmother would make amazing things. She made tuxedos for my brothers when they were little kids in dance class, just from scratch, no pattern, just made them matching tuxedos. She was amazing. Um, but she was also a perfectionist, and she put those expectations on my mother. So my mother, I felt bad. My mother never felt like she was good enough or as good as my grandmother,
Hmm.
but she was amazing. So she made matching dresses for herself and me when I was little. They were orange, and I still love orange, with the white daisy embroidered trim.
Oh,
And I'm looking for a sheath pattern from the early 70s so I can make myself the dress that my mother made for herself. So just all these memories of sewing, everyone, and always making crafty things, like whatever was that most popular craft at the time we were into.
yeah. So it sounds like you had a wonderful influence growing up. So can you tell us, that was your first garments and the way you were raised, but can you tell us about your first quilt?
Yeah, my first quilt was in 1990. Actually, my mother's first quilt was the quilt she made for my wedding in 1989. She had made a couple of baby quilts from, women's magazines for my nieces when they were born. But the first, like, I would say, real big quilt was our wedding quilt, because she had retired
Yeah.
and moved to the suburbs and joined a senior center where there was a very active quilt group. So, she had started quilting. I had inherited my grandmother's machine. And so I decided, well, I should learn how to quilt. This looks like fun. So as I was looking through the newspaper, looking for a job, there was an ad for a beginner sampler class at a local quilt shop.
Oh,
It was like a 6 or 8 week class, and it covered a lot of great techniques. So we started with hand piecing. We were cutting out templates from cardboard. We did eventually learn how to use a rotary cutter. We did some applique, lots of really basic techniques, but varied techniques. It was probably the best class I've ever taken. And it did spark that interest in quilting for me. And I knew immediately this is going to last, because there are so many different directions you can go and so many techniques you can do. There's a never ending supply of inspiration here.
yeah. Yeah, it sounds so good. Like you had such a creative journey. In your bio on your website, you talk about being a young housewife looking for something to do. So can you
Yep.
tell us a little bit about your story? Sort of what's your founder's story from, getting married, having children to a career in the making?
Yeah, I went to college at the University of Rochester. My degree is a combined major in biology and geology. So we did a lot of paleontology, a lot of fossil hunting, a lot of um, field trips around campfires in the Adirondacks and gorgeous places in New York State. I never actually worked in either of those fields. I ended up being a lab tech for a few years. I tested mosquitoes for Eastern equine encephalitis one summer. Just a lot of really weird lab jobs.
Yeah.
So that my first job that I was looking for after we got married, I ended up working for a few years at Pfizer,
Mm.
in the research side. And that's when I started having babies, and I ended up leaving Pfizer to become a full-time mom.
Hmm.
So shortly after that, we moved here to Rhode Island, and uh, following my husband's job. And it was a great place to raise kids. We're in a small town, only about 10 minutes from the beach. So we would be at the beach every day in the summer. And just had a lot of really great friends with the kids and the moms, and just it was a great childhood for them, I think.
Yeah.
I think they would agree.
Yeah, I bet they would agree too. So tell us how that path of raising your kids, once they started going to school and getting independent, and you had a little more, I mean, as a mom, do we really ever have more time? But, as
Yeah.
your time began to free up to be able to do your own things, how did you grow and change with your quilting over time?
I think I started to get more, maybe more complex. I was learning so many techniques and trying to apply everything I learned and trying to learn something new with every quilt too, challenging myself with every quilt. And one of my friends in the guild that I belong to encouraged me to start teaching.
Oh,
So that's kind of how the hobby turned into the career.
yeah, it kind
So
of sounds like there's a bit of a defining moment where people who lifted you up started to say, okay, you're pretty good at this. It's time for you to share
yeah,
with others, right?
right,
Yeah.
right. And for me, that person was Barbara Barber,
Oh.
not the British Barbara Barber, the Rhode Island Barbara Barber. And she's was amazing as as an inspiration, as just an amazing woman, um, a woman of faith, just so talented. And also, she had a great sense of humor. So she never took herself too seriously. She never took her quilting too seriously.
Yeah.
So she'd have some heirloom rotary purse hand quilted project in the works. And when she had to take a break, she would bust out the Wonder Under and do some raw edge applique of something very silly.
Yeah.
So, it was that kind of told me that I could do anything with
Yeah.
this hobby, with this in this quilting world, that, you don't have to stick to one style or one technique. You can do everything.
Yeah, I love those mentors or teachers who can go from like historical and serious to whimsical and fun and kind of slap happy, but they just give you that permission to do whatever you love, right?
Right. And to play.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did your style, you started off in a certain sort of, learning how to do a traditional type of quilting. How did your style change over time and how did you fall in love with EPP and FPP?
It's so interesting. I was talking to my daughter about that this morning, and I said, "Do you think my style has changed? I mean, it's been 35 years,
Yeah.
but at the heart of it, I think my eye is drawn to bright colors and high contrast.
Mm,
And that really hasn't changed much. Um, from that first sampler quilt with, bright traditional reds and greens, Christmas. It was a Christmas quilt
yeah.
on a white background to, the work I'm doing now. I still use white a lot. I like the high contrast. I like the bright colors, all the tulip pinks and the Jane Sassaman prints. And so I don't think my eye has really changed that much. I like to think maybe it's a little more sophisticated than when I started, but when I look at my quilts, maybe not so much.
Well, you've got
Um,
a phenomenal eye for color and you're having so much fun with everything you do. But I
yeah.
want to touch on something you mentioned to me earlier. And that was 5 or 6 years ago when COVID hit, your quilting story with your business really changed. So tell us about that.
Yeah, it really did. I had already been teaching 10 or 15 years locally, maybe regionally throughout New England. Um, but I really hadn't gotten out beyond this area very much. And then COVID happened and the Global Quilt Connection happened. And that gave us an opportunity to get online and connect with guilds and individual students and really get out there in that space. And so it was that getting on Zoom, we were on Zoom immediately. I was program chair for my guild at the time with my friend Sharon. And we said, we're not going to let this, we're not going off the cliff here. We're on Zoom immediately. I think we were on in April of 2020.
Yeah.
We were on Zoom.
Yeah.
We did not waste any time. And that was a big learning curve at the beginning.
Hmm.
And even now, every time you go on Zoom, they've updated something and you have to
Yeah.
be, oh, well, like, where did that button go that was always right there?
Yeah, exactly.
But through the Global Quilt Connection and their directory and all of their resources, we were able to get up and running.
Yeah.
And that just opened up the whole world for me.
Hmm.
There still is a Facebook group for the teachers at Global Quilt Connection. And there was so much open sharing happening there.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of microphones do you use and what kind of lighting and what kind of cameras and, what's all the tech that we need? So people like Carol Lyle Shaw were so generous. They had been working in that arena already,
Hmm.
and they were so generous in providing that information to those of us who had not done it yet.
Yeah.
To say, you don't have to have the most expensive equipment when you start out. Just do it. Just start.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. So I want to give a little plug right now to Global Quilt Connection. If you're thinking of teaching on Zoom or you're teaching all over and Zoom is something you haven't introduced into there's Lyric Kennard created that and you can find it online. Just Google Global Quilt Connection. It is such a great resource for teachers. And it's also a great resource for guilds. If you're the leader or if you're, the program coordinator or something like that, you can find amazing teachers through that organization. So little plug for them. Lyric has done such a wonderful job. I want to take a moment out of the story actually and talk about where are you living now and who are your loved ones that you share your world with every day?
Yeah, so we're still here. We've been here almost 30 years in Wakefield, Rhode Island on the South Coast. It's a very small state, so we can drive across the state in under an hour. Um, But, if we're driving more than 20 minutes, we have to pack a lunch. It's just such a silly place.
I love it.
But we do love it here. And so it's me and my husband now. We've been empty nesters for a while and loving it. So yeah, the kids are both grown. My daughter Julia is in North Carolina with her husband and two little boys, and my son Pete is in Florida with his wife, and they are expecting their first baby in August. So
Oh,
we're very excited about
congratulations.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. It's always so fun to welcome new little ones into the world.
Yeah.
So I can imagine you're having a great time. Okay, so let's get back into the story and start talking a little bit about design because your jam is English paper piecing, foundation paper piecing, but you also love free motion quilting on your machine, right?
I
So
do.
let's talk a bit about design from that. From those aspects. So when you see something in the world that sparks an idea, how do you capture that? Are you pencil to paper? Do you go into EQ programming or digital, or what do you do?
Yeah, I usually take a picture. And when I'm looking at the picture, I like solving problems. And so usually I'll start on paper, but quickly go either to EQ8 or Adobe Illustrator. So I've been using Illustrator for a couple years now, and that's where I design all my EPP patterns now. Um, there's just not an easy way to do it yet on EQ. Hopefully, when version 9 comes out, I don't know when that will happen, but hopefully version 9 will have some functionality that's easier for English paper piecing. But for now, Illustrator's working really well for me. So I like using EQ8 because you can color things,
Hmm.
which is a little bit harder to do in Illustrator, but I can do a little bit of that there too. I'm not great in Illustrator yet, but I'm getting there.
Yeah.
What I love about Illustrator is that I can create SVG files. I recently purchased a Silhouette digital cutter.
Hmm.
So now I can go right from my design and create an SVG file to print my paper pieces, and then I'm ready to go. And
Yeah.
I like that instant gratification of being able to do that. I don't have to, order paper pieces from somewhere. And sometimes I'm designing shapes that don't exist in the market.
Mhm.
So I can create whatever I need that way.
Yeah, that's great. You're so savvy. Okay, so where do you pull your color inspiration from when you're designing a new pattern?
Sometimes it comes from the fabric that I'm using. If I've bought something that I really love, I'll start with that. And it's almost always from the fabric, but yeah, sometimes it's just I see a pile of fabric and think, oh, well, this really works. I have had the quilters color wheel to color tool, the 3-in-1 color tool.
Yeah,
I've had it forever and I don't use it that often. So sometimes I will challenge myself to open it
yeah,
and look for an interesting color palette that way
yeah,
and force myself to use colors that I don't normally use, especially when I'm putting together class samples and I want to do something different for a class sample.
yeah.
That's a good way to find a palette that, I might not normally work with.
Yeah, that's such a great idea. Like every once in a while, I realize, oh, I've got three completely different classes here, and all my samples are in blue. Like, how did that happen? Right?
Yeah.
And
Oh, but
it's
people love blue, so
yeah, they
that's
do.
okay.
They do. It just happens to be that I have the most fabric in blue in my stash, so I keep pulling
Hmm.
that out. But it's a great creative prompt for you to go to the color wheel once in a while and
Yeah,
challenge yourself, right? Yeah.
right.
Okay, so let's get into the business a little bit. Your business is called Seaside Stitches. So why the business name?
When we moved here, I was looking for something. I don't know. I don't know. We were like just playing with words,
Yeah.
and I really like the word stitches. Um, when my daughter was a Girl Scout, I was her leader, and Stitches was my camp name
Oh,
because the adults didn't use their real names when we were camp counselors at Girl Scout camp. So I was Stitches. So it just kind of was a thing. And I like the alliteration of Seaside Stitches.
yeah, it's fun.
My brothers both love to draw, and my oldest brother drew a cartoon of me on the beach with a treadle and my kids playing in the water
Oh,
and like
cute.
a row of flying geese flowing out of the sewing machine.
Oh, that was so sweet for him to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, what do you bring to the world with your business in a nutshell?
I hope that I bring an enthusiasm for quilting and a permission to not be great at something when you're learning something new.
Hmm.
I am a recovering perfectionist. My daughter says that we have this generational trauma of perfectionism that we're trying to heal from.
Oh.
So hopefully it dies with her. We're getting there, but I don't want to put that kind of pressure on my students. So especially when I teach domestic machine quilting, I start by saying, if you are new to this, you will be bad at it. And that's okay,
Yeah,
because if you keep practicing, you will get better.
yeah,
I'm not perfect at anything I do. And that's okay because I'm human. I'm not a computerized long arm machine.
yeah,
So my quilting is never going to look like that.
yeah.
And that's okay because I'm human. And I think it brings that human touch into my work. And you can tell that it was made by a person and not a machine.
Yeah. And I think
Um,
your daughter is probably right. It's incredible that she has this, it's wise that she has this awareness that her great grandmother was like Italian trained in all these
mhm.
fine textile work. And your mom, you were saying earlier that you felt your mom never felt good enough. That does go through generations, right?
Yeah,
And the reality is your mom was making dresses for you and her, feeling she might not have been good enough when perhaps her neighbor didn't even have a sewing machine, right?
right,
So,
right. I'm sorry. One more thing with
sure.
my classes is that I like learning all the techniques. I want to learn, and that's part of my ADHD is when I go down that rabbit hole of learning a new technique, I
Yeah.
want to learn all the different ways that people can do it.
Yeah.
And so I try to bring that to my students and say, look, I'm going to teach you one or two ways of how to do this today. You need to pick the one that works best for you. I'm never going to say to you, you have to do it my way.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you my way and I hope it works for you, but it might not. And It's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I love that. I have one workshop that I deliver called Hexie's 10 Ways. And every time I teach that class, first of all, some people are like, oh, I don't like this technique. Oh, I love this one. Can I just do it all day? But then also another great thing that happens is my students will often say, there's an 11th technique or a 12th technique.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
now it's like, should I change it to Hexie's 12 ways? I don't know. But yeah, I love what you're saying about bringing the techniques to the table, letting the students learn and choose what really works for them and just fill up their toolbox, right?
Right, exactly. I love
Yeah.
that word toolbox.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a quote that you love. Comparison is the thief of joy. Why is that meaningful for you?
Oh, it goes back to the perfectionism, right? And I look at other people's work and I think, oh, I could never do that, or I'm not that good.
Yeah.
And then, I come home and my people remind me
Yeah.
of what I can do and how good I am at what I do. And it happened last night. We were on our way home from a guild board meeting, and my friend Sharon always calls me on the way home from meetings, and I was telling her about today, and I was comparing myself to other people that have been on your podcast. And she said,
Yeah.
"What are you doing?
Aw. And
Just stop that."
every story has its place, and your story is so wonderful, right? So
Thanks.
yeah, I agree with her. I definitely agree with her. Okay, we want to jump over and continue the conversation about what you offer to the world. So let's take a look at your website.
Okay.
So it's seaside-stitches.com if people want to go there and find it. So what kind of things will we find if we head over there?
There is a free stuff page. I always go to the free stuff page first.
Hmm.
There are a couple of, I think there's an EPP I don't even remember what's on
Yeah,
there.
I
I
have it
know
open right now. There's all
there's an
kinds of wonderful
EPP
stuff.
pattern. There's
Yeah,
a foundation paper piecing pattern for a temperature quilt.
yeah, love
And
it.
I just got an email from somebody this week who has started one and she's loving
Oh,
it. So I'm really glad that it's working for her. Um, yeah, there's a tutorial from I don't know how many years ago, 2008 or 9-ish, from my old blog of a little fabric box.
yeah, it's cute.
And I see those in the wild.
Yeah.
Like people come to class with one and I'm like, where did you get that? That's my tutorial.
It's so cute. It's got a little button on each side. It's adorable. It's
Yeah.
like a little holder. And then also there's a really cute little soccer ball template. So, if you have a little one in your life, you could make a little soft soccer ball for them.
Yep.
I love it. Lots of little English paper piecing stuff and a little how to hem a prom dress tutorial at the bottom there.
Yes, because when my daughter was getting ready for junior prom, we went to a dress shop and she tried on this great dress and loved it. And the seamstress at the shop looked at me and my mother and said, "Do you sew?" Like she could tell just from looking at us that we knew
Yeah,
how to sew.
that's
And
good.
she told us how to do it.
Oh,
She explained her process of how to hem these dresses. And I came home and did it.
yeah.
And I just had to share that with people. And people still are using that tutorial. Now Julia can hem her own dresses.
Yeah, so
But
great.
she did go back and look at that tutorial to remember how to do it the last time she needed to do it.
Yeah, there's some great information on there. So if you've never tried English paper piecing before, you can download a free PDF there of the jewels. You can also try the sunflower block pattern. It looks very simple and, it's got a lot of pieces, but it's great for beginner paper pieces, English paper piecing if you've never tried it before. So other stuff I see on your website here, you've got a blog, you've got a calendar so people can find out where you are.
Mhm.
But I want to get into the teaching and the lectures. So, what are your most popular workshops?
My most popular workshop is the tiny foundation paper pieced pins, lapel pins or
Oh,
magnets.
okay.
It sells out everywhere. They're tiny pieced blocks that finish at about 1.25 inches.
Wow.
And then with the border and finished as a pin, it's about 1.75 inches.
Wow, it's so tiny.
Yeah, they are tiny, And it's the same technique as foundation paper piecing anything else. We're sewing on the line.
They're so tiny.
Yes, but I don't cut anything very small. I don't cut
Yeah.
anything smaller than an inch because you need to be able to handle it.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of waste, but I mean, I'm pulling stuff out of my scraps anyway, so I'm
Yeah.
using stuff I have. So I
It
don't worry
looks
about the waste.
It really looks so good. It's tiny miniature English paper piecing, or it's foundation, sorry, it's tiny
Yep.
miniature foundation paper piecing. But this little pineapple block that you have on the website is so cute. And I would think that would be a really fun thing to make into a pin, right?
Yeah,
Or a
they are.
magnet, or a magnet.
Or a magnet. Yep.
Okay, what else are some favorites that you teach?
Um, my favorite class to teach is the English paper piecing design party.
Mm.
I offer my students a whole bunch of different shapes, templates for hexagons, half hexagons, jewels, triangles, diamonds, and parallelograms.
Hmm.
And I give them a 4-inch hexagon grid that's divided into equilateral triangles. And then they play with all those shapes to fill in that grid. And so everybody can create their own block. Um, Mine are always symmetrical because that's how my brain works.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, I'll see a student who doesn't work the way my brain works, and
Yeah.
they come up with some really cool things. So that one's really fun for me because of all the different shapes, and it's always different. And that's also part of the ADHD. I need that dopamine hit of things being different all the time.
Yeah, well, I love that because the student is designing their own 4-inch block. And then plus, it looks like you have all kinds of little extras. So you're not just leaving with one little block. There's a bonus table runner pattern and things like that in your workshop.
Right.
So that sounds really good. So a lot of workshops that you have are English paper piecing or foundation paper piecing, a lot of fun things on your website that program coordinators can look through and choose from. And you're available to travel, teach online, on Zoom, at guilds, retreats, anything, right?
That's right. Yep.
Okay,
I'm
great.
ready to go.
So let's talk about some of your lectures because you have a couple lectures as well. So tell us about those.
The most popular lecture is EPP versus FPP, the showdown.
Ah.
So at the beginning, I talk about, the basics of English paper piecing, what it means, how you do it, and then the basics of foundation paper piecing. And then we do a showdown. So I have one quilt from each technique side by side.
Yeah.
We talk about each quilt, and then they have to vote which one is their favorite.
Oh, fun.
So they keep a tally as we go. I started out with 15 rounds of head-to-head matchup, and I talked too much. So I couldn't get through 15 in an hour. So I'm down to 11 now. But I try to keep it at an odd number.
Yeah.
So that, when they're voting, it doesn't come out tied at the end. But it's usually very close. So it's usually their tallies end up being like 5 to 6. And foundation paper piecing almost always wins. And I'm working so hard on the EPP side to see if I can nudge that number. So it's getting closer.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a really fun lecture. So, of course, if you're the program coordinator, you can check it out on the website. And tell me a little bit about the group quilts lecture.
Yeah, people really have been enjoying that one too. Group quilts, group projects can be really challenging.
Mhm.
And so I've done so many of those projects that I wanted to bring the lessons that I've learned through those processes and show, especially guild members, how they can overcome some of the challenges involved with a group project. Because, not quilt blocks don't always end up exactly the size they should. So how are you going to deal with that? So we talk about guild block swaps, like block of the month raffles, or one-to-one block swaps, guild projects like gifts for people that are ill, or outreach projects for community partners. Our guild makes a lot of quilts for Habitat for Humanity, and raffle quilts can be really challenging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right down from should you have one person running the whole thing or a team of volunteers to what gets parsed out to the people. Do some people
Right,
do more or less? One person quilt the whole thing, that kind of thing. So great
right.
information if you have a guild. I mean, that would be a great lecture. I've never heard of anything like that. So it'd be really good information if a guild really wants to get philanthropic and start doing things for charity. Awesome.
Right.
Okay, so also on your website, you have a newsletter people can sign up for. So what kind of things do you put out in your newsletter?
I tried to do the newsletter. I'm going to try to be really better this year. Um,
You're not the only guest who's ever said that.
it
Lots of
is,
people.
it's just not fun. It's not the
Yeah.
fun part of what I do. So I really have to force myself to do it. But MailChimp just charged me.
Oh.
So now that I'm paying
No, yeah.
monthly for MailChimp, you can expect to see newsletters more often.
Yeah, so
I need
that
to get
means
my money's worth now.
so when MailChimp charges you for the first time, that means you're growing your subscribership, which is a good thing. But
Yes, yes.
I hear that struggle. A lot of, creators who come on the podcast are like, yeah, I'm not great at putting my newsletter out. And also I don't want to bother anybody. But the truth is, I think your people who love you, they really want to hear from you. So it'll be exciting
Yeah.
if you start doing your newsletter a little bit more.
So I did just send one out last week because I needed to get information out about the upcoming shows that I'll be teaching at. Need to start promoting those a little bit more. I want my classes to be full because it's more fun when they're full.
Absolutely. Okay, so speaking of things you're teaching, we're going to talk after the break about upcoming, like coming soon. But right now, I want to talk about travel. Like, have you had any highlights as a teacher or speaker, favorite travel destinations?
Yeah, I really have enjoyed teaching in Houston. I'm excited that I'm going to be teaching in Paducah this year for AQS for the first time.
Oh, that'll be fun. That comes up in April, right?
That's April.
Yeah.
I love attending QuiltCon.
Mhm.
I haven't taught there, so it's just fun to go and see people. I think meeting up with the people
Yeah.
is it's even more important. Like seeing the quilts is great, and the quilts were amazing this year. But I have more fun connecting with people at QuiltCon, especially. I don't know why. What is it about QuiltCon? I think I see more friends at QuiltCon than I do even at Houston. So
Yeah, me too.
really enjoyed going there.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. And I mean, especially for me, I see a lot of friends because they come stop by the podcast lounge. So that's always really fun.
Yeah,
Okay,
we know where to find you.
yeah, you know where to find me every morning in the Olisa booth. And I will keep doing that forever as long as they have me because it's so much fun. I'm actually about to put that video out. And so it's going to be on YouTube only this year, but that's okay. It's going to be a lot of fun and you'll be able to see the people on YouTube instead of just listening. So,
Great.
Okay, so I want to talk about a couple of features that were wonderful. So the first one I want to touch on is Quilt Folk issue number 25. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, that was a blast. I was also surprised to get that invitation from Quilt Folk. So the photographers and a stylist came to my house and we took a bunch of pictures at the house. So my headshot is the picture that the Quilt Folk photographer took that day. And then we went to the beach. Since I'm not that far from the beach, we brought a bunch of quilts to the beach and we took some really great pictures at the beach. So that was just so fun. And then I had an interview with Frances O'Rourke Dowell, and she wrote the article about me for Quilt Folk. And it was really interesting to see what she found interesting about my story.
Mm-hmm.
And what she took out of it was that I collect quilters. She knew immediately that the people were really important to me, that, the quilts and the quilting is great.
Yeah.
But the quilters are family for me. So, and she figured that out. So, and I got to see her at QuiltCon this year. So it was great to see her too.
Oh, that is so sweet. I just love how they get the photographers. That magazine is so beautiful. No commercials or ads in that magazine. And they just get the photography like they nail it every time. They get you in the place where you are, which is the beach, right? So I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so another really great feature that happened just last March was the quiltshow.com with Ricky Timms and Alex Anderson. So tell us about that experience.
Oh my goodness, that was a dream come true because I've been watching Alex since I started quilting.
Yeah.
Um, they were amazing. The whole staff is amazing. It was a little harrowing to get there
Hmm.
because I was teaching that weekend in Pennsylvania. So I didn't even come home. My husband came with me to Pennsylvania
Yeah.
so that he could drive the car home. He put me on a plane in Philadelphia and I flew to Branson for the
Yeah.
taping. My friend Sharon met me in Charlotte for our connecting flight to Branson, so she came with me.
Oh,
Um, she's my travel companion and my chief operating encourager in chief, I
Chief
guess we're called.
Happiness Officer.
She's the one that says you should apply to this and you should apply to that, and it's time for you to get out more and do more. So she's the one that really pushes me
Oh,
beyond
it's
my comfort zone.
so nice to have a friend like that.
Yeah,
Shout
so
out to
to
friends like that.
Sharon, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So
awesome.
there was no way I was going to Branson without her.
That's so great. So what did you teach or show on the quiltshow.com?
I showed some English paper piecing because I had developed this technique for fussy cutting that I am really excited about sharing. So I got to share my Wonder Window technique
Oh, fun.
for fussy cutting, and I do have a little YouTube video about that.
Okay, so you have a little video about that new technique on your YouTube channel, which is just under your name, Tina Craig at Seaside Stitches. So you can search that, you'll find it on YouTube. So let's continue on talking about that experience because when you get there, it's a mansion, right? They're all staying
Yes.
in one place and there's a film studio all set up and there's a beautiful outdoor seating area. Did you talk about some other things besides that brand new technique you wanted to feature?
Yep. So I also did some hand stitching. So a little bit of the actual stitching English paper piecing.
Yeah.
And Alex was really interested to see the flat back method for English
Mhm.
paper piecing because she hadn't tried that yet.
Yeah.
And Alex shared with me a spool of her thread, her Quilter Select Para Cotton Poly thread,
Yeah.
which is now my favorite thread for English paper piecing.
Ah, cool.
So yeah, you should try it. It's really a nice thread.
Yeah, I like it when people stray away from cotton. It doesn't always have to be 100% cotton for everything you do in quilting,
No,
right? Yeah.
no. And English paper piecing, all that rubbing up against the edge of the paper can really cause a lot of shredding and tearing of
Yeah.
thread, whichever thread you're using. And this one doesn't shred. And
Oh,
I
cool.
really like it. And then I demonstrated the tiny foundation paper piecing.
Tiny FPP, like
Yep,
you'd use
yep.
on the magnet of the button, right?
Yes,
Oh, fun. Okay. Well, that sounds like you had a really fun time. And
we
what a great,
did.
I guess we should take a look at what was the episode number. Let me pull it up on your website.
3705.
You remember it. Okay,
That one I
3705.
remember.
Yeah. 3705. So you can find that if you're a member or you subscribe to the quiltshow.com. Go ahead and check that out. That sounds like it's gonna be a really fun episode. Okay, so Tina, is there a quilt or quilt project that's been most memorable for you?
Yeah, I think the most memorable quilt was our guild's 40th anniversary raffle quilt.
Oh,
So the guild that I have belonged to since the beginning, Ninigrit Quilters in Westerly, Rhode Island, we celebrated our 40th anniversary in 2021. So in January of 2020, I started the raffle quilt project. And so I put information in the newsletter. Here's what I want. Here's what we're going to do. Inspired by Barbara Black's red and white by the numbers, I think it's called, anniversary quilt.
mm,
I wanted to make a red and white quilt. So I wanted people to use the red fabrics that they had in their stash. And I provided like a creamy background fabric. We happen to have a bolt in our guild stash. And I asked them to do what they do best. So make a block in any size in a multiple of three. So 3-inch, 6-inch, 9-inch, 12-inch with the seam allowances.
yeah.
And any technique that they do best. So we got some applique, a lot of piecing, a little bit of English paper piecing, some beautiful machine applique, beautiful hand applique. So just a whole lot of variety. And
Yeah.
that's what I really wanted. That's what I love about group projects is the variety that comes
Yeah.
out. So my goal was to have these blocks delivered to me by the June 2020 meeting. We know what happened in March of
Yeah.
2020. So fortunately, when I put the directions out, I included my mailing address.
Mhm.
So they already had it. They knew that they could mail them to me. So, you know, early on, March, April, I started getting blocks in the mail. So it was just a beautiful thing that was happening
Yeah.
during the beginning of this lockdown, that blocks were coming in the mail almost every day. And it was amazing. They were going up on the design wall, and I would share them on our Facebook group so people could see what was happening. And this quilt grew bit by bit. And you can imagine that blocks in all different sizes are going up on my design wall, and I'm literally puzzling things together,
Yeah.
trying to decide, well, I need this to be balanced. So if I've got this darker red up here, I need some dark red down here. And I don't want all the appliques all bunched together, and I don't want all the half square triangles all in the same place. So there was a lot of shuffling and moving things around. And of course, my design wall is not big enough. So things are now pinned to the curtain next to the design wall, and
Yeah.
it all worked out. I brought it to a member who is a long arm quilter, and I said, Pat, I don't know what color thread to use because we've got all this red and all this creamy white. And she pulled out a golden yellow color that was absolutely perfect, beautiful on the red and the creamy white. And, she did an edge to edge, beautiful swirly thing. It's just stunning. It
Nice.
is absolutely stunning. So my mother was in a nursing home at the time, and she did pass away in June of 2021, but she got to see the quilt. I was able to bring it to show her, and I spread it out on her bed, and she said, "This is going to be a really difficult quilt for you to give away."
Yeah.
And I said, I think you're right. I think it is going to be hard. Well, don't you know that when our show happened in October of 2021, our president, who I've known for a long time, pulled a ticket out of the bucket, and she turned to me and she said, "I think you know this person." It was my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law bought $50 worth of tickets
Oh, how sweet.
because she loves to win things.
Oh, $50.
So
She deserved it.
she did. And I really think my mother somehow put that ticket in Pat's hand.
Oh, so sweet. Oh,
So when I was ready to ship it off to my sister-in-law, she said, "Well, it's red. They live in Florida. Everything in their condo is blue. They have two king-size beds, and this quilt is queen." She said, "Why don't you hold on to it for a while?"
oh,
I said, "Don't mind if I do. Thank you very much."
oh,
So it's still traveling with me, and I love showing that quilt because it really is spectacular. It's really breathtaking when people see it. It's
yeah.
there's just so many fun little details to look at.
Yeah. Oh, what a heartwarming story. And there's always time. You could always make her a king size quilt one day to replace it, right?
That's true. That's true.
Well, what a heartwarming story. And I have to tell you, one thing that I have loved about just chatting with you today has been this thread of guild happiness along the way, because your guild brought you under their wing. They encouraged you to show your quilts on in front of everyone, and then encouraged you to teach. And then here you are, so involved in your guild doing these wonderful community things together. So that is a thread of this podcast episode that has just been absolutely delightful. So just tell me, why is your guild so meaningful for you?
This guild is my family. They've always been there for me. I was still, it was a newlywed when I joined that guild because as soon as I started quilting, that very first quilt class I took, my mother said, "Well, now you need to look for a guild." So she knew that the whole point of us quilting is to be with each other in community. I know it can be hard for people that live in certain places and you don't have a local guild near you.
Yeah.
That's changing now with Zoom. There are guilds that are doing an awful lot on Zoom. So I hope that people will look for an opportunity to join a group near them or on Zoom because this community is amazing. Quilters are the most generous people you'll ever meet, and they're just great. They're just good people.
Yeah, it's so
Um,
true. So true. Okay, I have one more question before we go to break, and that is in your creative practice, what brings you joy?
I think it depends on the day of the week or just the day that I'm having. I think the good part about having so many UFOs is that I can just pick what feels right for that day. So whether it's, feeding half square triangles through the machine for hours, or if I'm up for the challenge, trying to puzzle out a new design, it's different. I love every step of the process.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what I'm feeling like doing that day.
I just love how doing what calls to you in the moment in your studio space is what brings you joy. So right now we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk all about Tina's studio space, some of the quilts, of course, and what's coming soon. We'll be right back. Just give me 30 seconds of your time. Two things I want to say. The first thing is a huge thank you for listening and tuning into the show week after week. It means the world to me and my team, which consists of James, my podcast producer, DG, my virtual assistant, and Luna, my chocolate lab. This podcast really is a dream that started with the notion of surrounding myself with people who lift me up, but it has turned into so much more than that. We absolutely couldn't have imagined becoming an award-winning podcast. But secondly, we feel like we're only just getting started. And if you enjoy what we do here, please go to your favorite social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or even YouTube, and follow Quilter on Fire. It's one small thing you can do for free to support this show. And here's a promise I'm going to make to you. I'll do everything in my power to make this the best show I can, just for you. Thank you for listening. And we are back with Tina Craig. Tina, can you tell us about your studio space? Where do you create?
Yeah, so we don't have a huge house. So my main sewing space is in one of the bedrooms. It's a small bedroom, but I do have two machines in here. I have my Bernina 770 and an HQ Sweet 16, the sit-down long arm, which actually was Sharon's mother's. So that's just two really great machines. And every once in a while, my Singer Featherweight will come out to play.
Make an appearance.
Yep. So I don't have much room for much else in this space. There's a small table for cutting. I've got a bunch of IKEA basket drawers with scraps. So all my scraps are in here. And the closet is all quilts. So lots of quilts for trunk shows and, class samples are all in there. And the overflow is on the guest bed.
Yeah, me
So
too.
yeah, that's where I pack my suitcase. And so things tend to stay there until somebody is actually coming to stay and needs to sleep in that bed, and then I need to move quilts. But then my main stash is in the basement, and all the merch is down there. All the supplies that I sell to my students are down there. And my office is the dining room table. And then I have a hand stitching station next to the couch. So
nice.
I've got a space all where I can sit and watch TV and do my EPP at night.
Yeah, it's nice to have that comfy spot. Good.
Yeah, so studio everywhere, I guess.
Mhm. Well, it sounds like you have it throughout different spots in the home, but you have each area contained for a different type of project, right?
Well, yeah, mostly.
Mostly, okay. So, what's your favorite time of day?
I think midday I get the most done, so it takes me a while to get going in the morning. So maybe from around 11 until dinner time
Yeah.
is when I get the most work done.
And what's the best thing you do for your own self-care?
Getting outside, getting out in nature, really. I need to reconnect to nature at least once a week. I love the term forest bathing.
Yeah.
There's some great hiking trails in our town, and
Mhm.
we have a favorite trail that goes right down to the water. And I have a favorite bench there where I like to just sit and wait for birds to come because we like watching birds, and um, that's my favorite place to be.
Mhm. Yeah, I love getting out into nature as well. It's a huge thing for us. And plus, we have a dog. So we have to go out for at least an hour a day
Hmm.
to get her exercise as well. Nature just does something for the body, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, this is the fun part. We're going to talk about some of the quilts. We've already mentioned the 40th anniversary quilt and your first quilt. So let's talk about one that was a Morse code anniversary quilt for your husband.
Yeah, so my husband works in communications for submarines. So for our 25th anniversary, I decided to make a Morse code quilt for him.
Aw.
Thomas Knauer had visited our guild and talked about code quilts. So the code on the quilt is supposed to say, "I only have eyes for you."
Aw.
And that was our song. And at the bottom, it says Bill and Tina, 25 years.
Aw, how
But
sweet.
there's a typo. I reversed a dot and a dash. So instead of saying I'd only have eyes for you, it says I only have eyes for you.
For you. It's slang. It's slang Morse code.
Yeah.
Oh, he must have thought that was hilarious.
We didn't even notice.
Oh,
He noticed about 6 months later.
that's
Yeah.
cool. Oh, that is sweet. And you also did a temperature quilt in 2019. So tell me about that one.
Yeah, so that one is the one that there's a free download for the pattern on my website. That was my second temperature quilt. The first one ended up being huge, so the second one needed to be smaller.
Yeah.
So this one is a braid, and each column is a month with the high and low temperature for each day.
Yeah.
So I really like that one. That's my favorite. I've made two temperature quilts since then for my grandson's first year of life.
Oh,
So
nice.
Riley got one for his first birthday, and Skylar got one for his first birthday.
Oh, and the third one might be coming soon, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
fun. Okay. So let's talk about Lucy and Tula.
I really love Patchwork of the Crosses, which is a design by Lucy Boston. A lot of people equate those two things, the name Lucy Boston with the Patchwork of the Crosses design. She actually designed a lot of other things too, but that was her most favorite design or famous design. So when I combined a bunch of great Tula pink prints with that pattern, I came out with this little wall hanging Lucy and Tula.
Yeah, it's a really fun workshop as well, right?
Yeah, a lot of great fussy cutting in there.
Okay, and what's Omaggio alla Nonna?
So my grandmothers were both Italian. So when I was working on Katia Merrick's homage to Muti, I had to change the name.
Yeah.
So it's English paper pieced little flowers. I did the miniature version of that pattern. So they are 3/8 inch hexagons.
Whoa.
And there's a lot of them. But I had a friend that wanted to learn English paper piecing, and she wanted to make that pattern.
Yeah.
So I couldn't let her do it without doing it alongside of her. So I
Yeah.
decided I needed to make one too.
Oh, it's all about the friendship and camaraderie, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, I want to end the quilt talk with the Cherrywood Challenge. So you entered the Cherrywood Challenge called Puppies Poppies, I think it was,
Yep.
and you were a finalist. So tell me about that experience.
Yeah, so that was really fun. So the packet of fabric that year was a couple of different reds and a couple of greens, um, and a couple of grays. So mine is not particularly deep. There were some that were very inspired by World War One,
Mhm.
and I I couldn't go there. I have uh, a son and son-in-law who served, and I just couldn't think about that.
Yeah.
So mine are poppies that reminded me of the poppies in The Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
So that's my poppies. So I drafted a little poppy pattern in um, for English paper piecing.
oh, that's fun. So what does it mean that you're a finalist? Is it going
So
to travel or?
yeah, my quilt has been traveling since November of 24.
Oh,
And
fun.
it hasn't come home yet. I think it probably will soon. I haven't looked at the schedule recently. So all of the finalists are appear together in a couple of big shows, but then they get split up into three different groups and travel to smaller shows.
Oh,
So yeah, they've been traveling for a while.
oh,
It
that.
was a fun experience. It's the only time I've done it, so I think I need to try it again.
Yeah, it's always fun. They do that every year and they just have such great themes and fabrics, of course. So,
Yeah, the fabric
congratulations
is
on that one.
fabulous.
Yeah, that's a
Thanks.
lot of fun. Okay, so let's talk about the big news and coming soon. So, you have some teaching coming up. I'm going to mention a few. You'll be at the Vermont Quilt Show in June and Road to Virginia in June. And so, what kind of things will you be teaching there at those two shows?
So a little bit of everything in Vermont. So a little bit of foundation paper piecing, a little bit of English paper piecing. Yeah, I think that's it. I can't remember.
That's
There's so
okay.
many.
We don't, I mean, I guess we don't have to talk about that part because they know you're going to be teaching the stuff you usually teach, right? Okay.
Yeah, but that's a brand new show. So I'm excited to promote that opportunity.
Yeah.
It'll be good to have a show in Vermont again.
Yeah, so fun. And then in coming soon in 2027, you're going to be on an AQS cruise. So tell me about that.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. So I came up with two new projects that will be exclusive to the cruise. One is an adorable little EPP thread catcher
Oh, fun.
that you can, it's got buttons and elastic loops, so you can open it up and pack it flat.
Oh,
So you can take it on all of your quilting adventures.
yeah.
And Seven Sisters small piece of English paper piece diamonds. So lots of fussy cutting opportunities. And, you know, I figured we're on a cruise. We need to do something celestial.
Yeah. Now, earlier in a conversation, you gave me a little sneak peek into a dream idea of yours. You're considering writing a book. So, should we keep it top secret and get people to watch your Instagram, or do you think you can say anything about it?
What I can say about it is that it is a dream in my head right now. I know what I need to do.
Mhm.
I need to put it out there to the universe
Yeah.
that I need some accountability. So I'm hoping that my friends on Instagram will encourage me to actually make this thing happen. So I want it to be about the versatility of English paper piecing because
Yeah.
I do really like all the different things that you can do with EPP, combining it with embroidery and
Mhm.
making all the three-dimensional things, the Christmas ornaments and the Moravian stars and the cute little bowls and boxes and
Yeah.
like the soccer ball and like all the cool things that you can do with EPP.
Yeah, and it sounds like you have been doing all of those individual elements for so long. What a nice thing it would be to put those together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's time for the lightning round robin. It's a series of rapid fire questions and it's super fun. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What is your favorite tool or notion?
Oh, you asked me this the other day and now I can't remember what my answer was going to be.
That's okay.
Okay, I've got one.
Okay.
I use a cuticle stick
Mm.
to remove my papers when I'm English paper piecing because I glue based, like a fairly large wooden cuticle stick works
Mhm.
great for releasing the glue under the seam allowance so you can pop your papers out.
Oh, I like that. I use a chopstick, but I think the cuticle stick would
Hmm.
be even better. Okay.
Yeah.
What triggers inspiration for you?
Could be anything. Anything, everything. It's other people's quilts, it's nature, it's tile floors are great
Yeah.
for English paper piecing. So all the things.
Okay, how many UFOs do you have going on at once in your studio?
There are about five in this room right now, but I made a list in January and there are about 30 in this house.
In the house, yeah. I was
Yeah.
going to say five's not bad, but 30 is about
No.
normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what's a skill you'd love to learn?
I would love to learn how to do real trapunto.
Ah, yeah.
That's something I haven't done yet. So it's high on the list, and I know who's going to teach me. I just need to connect and get to where she's going to be when I'm not teaching, because I will see her later this year, but I will be teaching when she's teaching. So I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, Trapunto adds a really cool effect. Okay,
Yeah,
so have you had any weird, crazy, or funny fan moments?
a couple. But when but the one I landed on was someone came up to me at a show once and said, "Oh, you're so short. You you
What?
seem much taller in social media."
You seem much taller when we can't see the rest of your body behind the camera.
That's right.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
yes, honestly, I am only 4'11", so yes, I am that short.
Aw. Okay, so has there been a mentor who's influenced you along your journey?
Well, the first one was Barbara Barber. She's the one that inspired me to start teaching. And then, of course, Sharon pushing me along the way.
Mhm.
And I've really become friends with Anita Grossman Solomon, and she has been so generous in offering advice to me as I start teaching nationally. And Karen K. Buckley has just been lovely and also very encouraging. So I really thank them every time I see them.
Oh, how sweet. Okay, do you have any favorite collections of any kind in your home?
I think my favorite collection is my house plants.
Mm.
I only collect plants that survive with some degree of neglect. Although I am much better since my children moved away and I'm not raising children anymore. Now I can actually water plants and keep them alive a little better than I could before. I have a snake plant that is a descendant of my mother's plant that is taller than me now. It's about 5 feet tall.
Aw.
So yeah, I have a couple that are favorites.
Yeah, that is so sweet. Okay, what is your proudest accomplishment?
Probably raising children. Um, they're really great adults. We have a great time together when we're all together, and now they're raising children and doing a great job. So I am proud of that.
Oh, definitely something to be proud of. Okay, so thank you, Tina, for braving the lightning round robin. That was really fun. Okay, so I've mentioned your website at seaside-stitches.com, where we can find all the things we've talked about today. But where's the best place for us to connect with you on social media?
Instagram, I'm there pretty much every day. I try to post something, not maybe not every day, but almost every day. So Instagram at Seaside Stitches.
Okay, and as we wrap up today, what do you want people to take away most from our conversation?
I really want people to try new things and find the technique that works for you, because if you try something new and it's not quite right and you think, well, I'm never going to do that again, maybe that just wasn't the right technique. Maybe look
Yeah.
for a different one or tweak it a little bit so it does work for you. Don't give up right away. And just know that, yeah, learning new things, you're going to be bad at it for a little while, but keep trying, keep practicing, find somebody that is good at it that you can sit with, and maybe they can help you just improve a little bit so that you can enjoy it. Because if we're not having fun, why are we even here?
So
Quilting is
true.
supposed to be fun.
Yeah, that's a really good message. And what a great way to end the podcast. Tina, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you so much, Brandy.
So that was my show with Tina Craig. What I love about Tina is her curiosity. After decades of quilting, she's still learning, still experimenting, and still challenging herself with every quilt she makes. And every time I see her, her smile is contagious. That spirit really comes through in the way she teaches too, helping quilters build skills they can use again and again, not just for one project. And honestly, I think that's the heart of quilting. It's about the stories, the learning, and the joy of making something with your own two hands in a community. So be sure to follow Tina on Instagram at Seaside Stitches to see more about her upcoming events like the Vermont Quilt Show and Road to Virginia, both in June. And if you love cruising, check out her AQS cruise coming up in 2027. And today, I loved sharing the story of Tina Craig from Seaside Stitches with you. Quilter on Fire is now on YouTube, and it's packed with brand new weekly content. What's waiting for you? Fun and easy tutorials to follow, exciting unboxings, exclusive interviews with top quilters and artists at the biggest quilt shows like Houston and QuiltCon. If you love Quilter on Fire on the podcast, you're going to be blown away by our YouTube channel. Don't miss out. Subscribe to Quilter on Fire on YouTube today. Let's ignite your passion for quilting. Thank you for listening to the Quilter on Fire podcast. Remember to rate, review, and follow us on Apple Podcasts. Your support helps me reach more quilters just like you, striving for that perfect quilty lifestyle. Click on those 5 stars and share what you loved most about today's episode. Don't forget to hit the follow button if you haven't already. With new episodes dropping weekly, you won't want to miss out on the inspiring stories and tips we have in store. Until next time, dream big and have fun in the studio with the Quilter on Fire.